How's it going, everybody? It's your boy Mike from Seattle. Today I want to talk about how 7 years ago I met with one of Dave Ramsey's endorsed local providers and the financial plan that he laid out for me. Now, I just released a video talking about the actual returns on that Roth IRA and the mutual funds that I invested in. I talked about the rate of return, the value of the account, my contributions, the expense ratios, the fee structures, all of that. So if that's what you're interested in learning about, I recommend you check that video out. I'll put the link in the description below. But if you want to learn about what I'm going to talk about here, which is the actual financial plan that the endorsed local provider put me on, then stay tuned to this video because I'm going to share with you the conversation that he and I had back in 2013 when he laid out for me what my financial plan should be, what I should be investing in, what I could expect that to grow to by the time I retired, how long it would last me in retirement, and then what my options were if that wasn't going to be enough money for me. And here's a spoiler alert, it wasn't even going to be close. I was going to have astronomically huge shortfalls in retirement if I chose just to invest in a traditional Roth IRA, even at the best possible returns, which we estimated 9% returns. So if that's what you want to hear about, let's talk about the plan that was laid out for me and how I think, unfortunately, it wasn't going to be enough. I'm going to show you that. Let's get into it. Wednesday, December 18th of 2013. At that time, I had just turned 23 years old. I'm 30 and a half now. So right down here, he talks about your retirement asset to income ratio. Mine is 0. 0 is the danger zone. I fall into the danger category. If you're young and just starting out, this can be made up over time. If you're near retirement, you need to buckle down significantly and increase your savings. So at this time, I had nothing saved for retirement. Nothing at all. I had just done the first Dave Ramsey baby step of save the $1,000 emergency fund, and then I had no debts to pay off, so I immediately moved into saving my 6 months worth of expenses, which, as you'll see a little bit later when I show what my liquid net worth was at the time of 1900, well, that was all I needed for 6 months worth of emergency plans, of emergency expenses. My debt to income ratio, now, you're supposed to be at a debt to income ratio of 0, excluding your house if you're following the baby steps, excluding your house anytime you would be moving into this process, because Dave Ramsey's invest for retirement process is after the paying off all debt. So everyone should be at a debt to income ratio of 0. Obviously, me, having had no credit cards at that time, no debt whatsoever, and not even having a house, I had 0 debt. Debt freedom, which was fantastic for me. So you can see right here, again, a little snapshot of what it was like to be me back in 2013. My current total net worth was $1,900. And he asked me, what assets do you have? Vehicles, houses, retirement accounts, savings accounts, trusts, anything? Nothing. I got nothing, bro. I have nothing. I am just poor, okay? I got $1,900. That's where I'm at. So my current total net worth was $1,900. My current liquid net worth was $1,900. You know what's funny, though? I'm still doing better than a lot of people because I wasn't drowning in debt. So even just being 1,900 positive, I actually was, at this time, even as young Mike, was still doing a pretty darn good job. Now we take a look down here. He calculated out, after asking me, of course, what's my monthly income. So $42,000 a year, $3,500 a month. Gosh, that's just so sad to look at that. And then he calculates down here, and that was my pre-tax, by the way, pre-tax. So once he assumed 24% tax rate, $825 a month in taxes, I'm bringing in $2,675 a month. That's just sad. For my normal W-2 income job today, I bring in like $3,500 a paycheck after taxes. So I don't even know how I did it back then, but I guess that's the perks of being single with no children. So he estimates my income. He comes down here for an income projection. This is actually one of the things that I have a big problem with because I think as a financial advisor, they don't give you financial advice. They don't teach you how to make more money. They just give you investing advice to save for retirement. So yes, that is the definition of a financial advisor, I'm aware, but at that age, at 23, as you can see right there, at 23, what I wanted was somebody to pull me aside and say, hey, this is how you make money. This is what you should be focusing on. And nobody ever did that for me. I had to go find it on my own. He did a good job of doing what he's supposed to do, which was help me figure out a retirement strategy that I can invest into long-term and retire at the age of 65. I've since figured out how to hopefully retire at 35. 5 years left to go. Watch my other videos if you want to know how I'm doing that. It's all real estate, trust me. Okay, so my projected income, right, start out at $42,000. You can see right here, projections at 3% inflation. I have no other income at that point whatsoever. And you can see how he anticipates that by age 59, I had been real bougie here and said, you know what, I'm going to be wild and crazy. I don't want to wait till I'm 65 or 66 to retire. I want to retire at 60. One of the questions he asked was, when are you going to retire? Because that's when you need to figure out how many years you're going to draw on your retirement. So even at age 59, he anticipated I would only make $121,000. Current projections adjusted for inflation, whatever. Yeah, I make about $170,000 right now, and I'm already age 30. So my actual age 30 projection, yeah, I'm over triple that. So don't let what somebody tells you be a limiting belief on yourself. I looked at this and I said, this cannot be my life. My life cannot be a grand total of $2.7 million going in and out of my pocket ever. That cannot be what I am meant to do with my life. So I took this as a kick in the teeth. Like, no, I'm going to destroy this. Now, again, I'm not saying he did anything wrong. Obviously, he's just going off of the adjustments for inflation and all that type of stuff, not counting into raises or promotions and that kind of crap. I get it. But I looked at this and it was just dismal and bleak, and I was disgusted by the sight of it. Okay, so we come down here, my retirement goal estimation. Mike Newton, Wednesday, December 18, 2013. So when he asked me, he's like, how much do you think you would need to live in retirement at today's dollar value? And I said, well, I don't know, $4,000 a month. Because I wanted to be able to, when I'm retired, you know, take a vacation, travel, see family if I had kids or something like that. So I said, okay, $4,000 a month, and I want to retire at age 60. So he comes in and you can see my years to retirement at 37, and then he's like, all right, well, how long do you think you're going to live? I'm like, well, I'm pretty healthy. I exercise all the time. So I want to live to 100. I was planning for 100. So years until retirement, 37. Years in retirement, 40. That's a lot of years in retirement. Now he's calculating for a 3% inflation rate, a retirement return of 5%, and a tax rate of 18%, right? Lowest tax rate because I'm not taking that much out when I'm retired. And he's calculating my retirement needs in the future, right? That $4,000 adjusted for inflation will turn into $11,000 a month starting at age 60, and that my annual retirement need will be $143,000 a year. So in order to provide a yearly income of $143,000, I need to accumulate $4.4 million by the time I hit retirement. So my current retirement plan, at retirement, your accounts will grow to $0 because I have nothing in retirement right now. But he's talking about what additional investments do I need in order to make this a reality. Okay, so obviously at this point in my life, I had no retirement accounts, no savings other than the $1,900. So he said you have a huge shortfall. If you want to make that happen, at a 3% return, you need to save $5,400 a month between now and retirement. At a 5% return, you need to save $3,400 a month. And at a 9% return, you need to save $1,200 a month to make that goal happen for you of the $4.4 million I will need to retire at the current plans I had outlined. And I, of course, sat here and looked at this and I was like, $1,200, I got to save 50% of what I have for the next 37 years just to make that happen? I'm like, wow, how's that even possible? How's that possible? Now, I'll tell you, he did conservatively estimate, right? Because if you listen to Dave Ramsey on his radio show, he always talks about how mutual funds will average between 8 to 12% returns. And down here you can see that he's averaging 9% is the highest one that he even put there. He didn't even put anything higher than that. All right, so now I have my homework. This is what I need to do and make happen in order to make that retirement goal a reality. Now here's the thing. In a Roth IRA, you can only put $525 a month. And I started out with a base investment of $270, and for the first several years that I had the Roth IRA, I couldn't afford to put in the $525. I was putting in $50 a month for like 5 years, maybe 4 years, 4 or 5 years. I put in $50 a month, but I just knew I had to at least put something, and I got to at least do something. And of course, now as a fan of the Money Guys show, listening to Bo and Brian talk about how at age 20, every $1 you invest turns into $88 by the time you retire. I'm glad I started early, even though it felt like pennies in a giant bucket. Bucket's an understatement. Pennies in an Olympic-sized swimming pool, because I put the $50 in a month, and then eventually bumped it to $250, and then eventually bumped it to $500. As I'm gonna show you in a few minutes, my actual retirement account balances are significantly higher than the amount of money I've actually contributed. So here's the sad thing, right? My projection chart. At age 60, I retire. And I run out of money 10 years later at age 70. At age 70, I've already withdrawn all of my retirement money. It's completely gone. And that's at saving a personal contribution of $525 a month. So what he's trying to tell me here is like, look, you got to max out your Roth IRA, and then you have to come up with other, just a traditional Roth and other retirement savings accounts if you want to make this happen. So he comes down here and we can see that the balance, and it goes up, all the way till age 60. At age 60, I've got 1.4 million in the account. It grew $74,000 that year, and then that is the point where I start withdrawing. And you can see down here at age 70, I have effectively run out of money, and living to age 100, I'm in the hole, you know, negative $11 million. Well, that's a little bit of a bleak, disappointing, depressing situation I found myself in. I was like, you're telling me that even if I saved all of this money, which already seemed like an astronomically high amount of money to request for me to save. I mean, imagine telling a 23-year-old kid who's making like 20 bucks an hour that he needs to save $525 a month, $6+ grand a year, and that's only so he can make it through retirement for 10 years. This was one of the main things that spurred me to figure out how to invest in real estate, because I said to myself, there's got to be a better option. All right, now that's a story for another video. Check out the rest of my channel, and I'm happy to say that I've come up with fantastic alternatives that will now allow me to retire comfortably, hopefully at age 35 if I continue on the path that I'm on. All right, so this is what the Endorsed Local Provider set up with me, this plan. And he said, okay, you need to start investing in a Roth IRA, $270 to open up the account, and now how much do you want to put in each month? And I started with $50 investments a month, pennies in a swimming pool. All right, guys, so hopefully you came away with this with the same perspective that I did, which was if I solely rely on using a Roth IRA, I'm going to fail in retirement. I have to come up with additional accounts, traditional IRAs, 401ks, a pension plan, investing in real estate so you get passive income through rental properties, which is what I ended up choosing to do, which I think is going to help me retire at 35 instead of 60. And again, if you're interested in that, watch some of the other videos on my channel, because I've been doing crazy things with rentals over the last 3 years. But this Roth IRA, this is my backup plan. This is my last ditch effort. This is if everything else fails, at least I have this, and I guess rely on the government for Medicare and Social Security if those even exist 35, 40 years from now. Ultimately, I think that it's a great idea. You should have this as one of the tools in your toolkit. You should be investing. If I could give advice to my younger self, it would be try to figure out how to invest more money quicker. But ultimately, I don't think that this is the pathway to success. I don't think that this is going to help you be secure in your retirement. I think this is just part of the tools that you will need to be secure in retirement. So make sure that you do not let this become a limiting belief on you and make you feel like you are secure in what you're doing and you're taken care of, because I don't think you are. I think you need to over-plan, over-prepare, and then if the worst happens, you'll be ready for it, and if something better than the worst happens, well, then you're going to be sitting pretty. Guys, thanks for watching this video. I really appreciate the support. Feel free to like and subscribe down below. Leave a comment down below if you've ever met with a Dave Ramsey Endorsed Local Provider, what your experience with them is, and what's your retirement plan. Is it just a Roth IRA? Is it a combination of different accounts, passive income? I'm curious to see what everyone's plans here are, because at the withdrawal rate that I wanted, which I don't think was that crazy, I was setting myself up for disaster. So don't be like that. Be better. We'll catch you next time.